totally fine. Okay, so we're recording. This is our kind of day one kickoff of this Belief in Business series. Oh, there's someone wanting in. Okay, I'm going to mute everybody. You can feel free to unmute yourself. I'm just muting because of the recording. So this is kind of day one of this kickoff. I'm really excited about it because, well, you guys saw the video. I just feel like it was something I personally needed, and it's something that it's much better to do with other people than me trying to build belief back in myself and the business alone at home every day, right? So I want to go over some logistics of what the series will look like. It'll be a Zoom format every Tuesday at this time. My goal is for it to be 30 minutes, but today might be just a little bit longer because it's the first one. I also do not want it to be just me talking the whole time. Again, today might be a little bit different because we're kicking it off. We're going to talk about what the next 5 Tuesdays are going to look like. But my goal for the series is kind of twofold. My two main goals are connection and action, with a goal of building belief in ourselves and our Plexus businesses. So this is a business focused group, because you saw my video, and while I have never wavered in the belief of this company or in the belief of Plexus as a career, I lost belief in myself, and that grew like a weed, right? Like it grew like a weed and it just spread into so many things. And I know a lot of you guys said you could relate, because for me, it happened so fast. I didn't even know what hit me, you know? It's like I got content and kind of sitting in shame and guilt. And then I dimmed my light to match this negative self talk. In fact, I was so self aware, and maybe you guys can relate to this. You know, we've done all the motivational videos and trainings and read the books and listened to the podcasts that we're so self aware that we know we have negative self-talk. And like I knew I'd lost belief, but I downgraded kind of my dreams and my vision to match it and became okay and content just sitting in it, because it was just so much harder to even think about doing the work to come out of it than even actually doing the work. So the next thing, I knew is that I didn't recognize myself, and maybe you don't recognize yourself, or you feel like your business is either dead in the water or has stalled. And then what happens is this negative self-talk disguises itself and starts to reinforce the reasons why we lost our belief, right? So you might have some limiting beliefs like, oh man, this business is just not for me. I'm just not a sharer. I can't keep people around, right? So then what happens is people quit, or you lose someone, or somebody tells you no, and then you use that to reinforce why you're not good in the business. So my goal at the end of the next 5 Tuesdays is for all of us to leave. Hang on, I'm still admitting people. Yay. Is for all of us to leave with this kind of crazy maniacal belief in ourselves and in our Plexus business. Okay. So if you can't be on live today, for people that are watching, that's totally okay. Moving forward, if you can't be on live every single day, that's totally okay. It will help with building that connection with us as a group, but it's fine. Okay. The other thing that I have sketched out for this series is that there's going to be some activities that we all need to do. Okay. So often, and I hate to even think of the ones that I actually paid for, but so often I sign up for this type of stuff, or I'm on the team call, or I listen to the recording, or I watch that video, and then I do nothing, right? Like that was great, and then I don't do anything about it. So for this, I want you guys to just promise yourself, not me, promise yourself that you'll do the things, okay? No matter even how silly it might seem, because oftentimes when, I am asked to do certain kind of belief building exercises, whether it's in the business or ourselves, they seem super silly. It reminds me of that like Stuart Smalley, remember from Saturday Night Live? I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. But it's so true. So promise yourself that you'll do the things. And then that's also why I created the chat group. So if you're not in it, we can add you to the chat group. And that is just for posting the recordings and then posting, I hate to call it homework or activities. I really kind of hate that word homework because that makes it sound like, oh my gosh, there's going to be homework. I barely have time for the calls, let alone the homework. So, and then of course, as people were like, oh, I didn't know about this, I want to do it too. You can totally add people. Okay. The chat is just to keep stuff in one place, not to be exclusive. So people can come and go. We can add people. But that's why I created that. Okay. So if you haven't already, and I know some people are at work, so today we're going to work a lot through the chat. But if you haven't already, I want you to grab a notebook that you can use just for this series. It could be something like this. I have a little notepad. It can be a proper notebook. So I want you to go grab one. If you don't have one right now, we're going to do some quick introductions in the chat so you've got time to go get one. And if you're watching the recording, you can just pause and go grab one. Because the stuff we're going to do is going to build every single week. So it'd be good just to keep it in one place and not live by post-it notes, which I sometimes am guilty of. And then I have like stack of random post-its everywhere. Okay. So feel free to put in the chat any thoughts. I see you guys doing that already. What I want to do first though, because this is the kickoff call, we're all going to be together for the next 5 weeks. I want you to introduce yourself. And because a lot of people are at work or their kids are home, let's do this in the chat. So give me your name, your rank, how long you've been taking Plexus products, not how long you've been working the business, how long you've been taking the products, and what city you are watching from. And I'm going to put mine in the chat too, because I'm doing this with you guys. Yeah. Stuart Smalley. I remember when that came out on Saturday Night Live thinking, oh my goodness, this is hilarious. And now what, 20 years later, I'm like, oh man, Stuart Smalley knew what he was doing. Amy Welch. What else did I say? Sapphire. 6 years. It's my anniversary this week. And I'm in Pinehurst, Texas. Oh, he is the Minnesota governor. That's right, because it's not actually Stuart Smalley. It's that Al Franken, right? Okay. Oh, senator. Right? I love all of us Texans putting our cities too, because we could be 12 hours apart from each other or 2 minutes apart from each other, and you will not know it based on the little city we put in there. Okay, so while you guys are doing that, we're already building connections. You might find someone else that lives near you, lives where you used to live. We're building connections among ranks, among how long we've been taking the products. So I'm really excited about that. Now, today, again, I told you my goal was not for me to talk the whole time, but I tried to make today's not talking and it just doesn't work. So today's just a little bit different than the next kind of 4 Tuesdays, right? So we will be diving into a lot of kind of the self-talk today, because really before we can really go into the building our business belief, we got to get a handle on our personal belief, whether we lost a little bit or we lost it completely. Okay. So sometimes it happens and we don't even realize it, right? You may wake up in the morning and say things like, oh man, I didn't get enough sleep. Today's going to be rough. That is already this kind of scarcity, never enough attitude, right? Or you wake up and say, oh man, I just don't have enough time to get everything done today, right? That kind of self-talk starts us out on the wrong foot first thing in the morning and sets the tone for the entire day. And we don't even realize it, okay? So we're going to talk about changing that. Most of us, though, I feel like we already know it. So we're going to do a couple different exercises here at the end, but we're going to try to change your self-talk to some more kind of useful messages, right? Because here's the deal. When we're talking about building belief in our business, we cannot outperform our own self-image, right? You are not going to be something that you can't see yourself as, right? So if deep down you really don't think you can be anything but gold, you are never going to be anything but gold. It just doesn't work. You cannot outperform your own self image. So, we are going to really hit today this building our own kind of personal belief. Okay. Because then we can turn that around and then we can really focus on building our business belief. Okay. One, and and we'll start to change our thoughts that we all know comes out in the energy when we talk to someone about Plexus, when we follow up with someone about Plexus. It all starts from this kind of self-talk. We'll also be building our belief in the business, meaning uh, the company, the products, and the industry. And we may even find some triggers of why we may have lost belief or the biggest thing that is holding us back. Okay. So, uh, we're about 15 minutes in. Love everyone's given their introductions in there. So right now we're going to do an exercise. I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. It might take you longer, and that's okay. At the end of the 10 minutes, if you haven't knocked it out, no problem. You can do it later when we're not on the Zoom. This is something that was hard for me. If it's not for you, you are already a step ahead of the game. Okay. I want you guys to write down 7 things you absolutely love about yourself. Okay. 7 things you love about yourself. Now it's day one. We're not sharing any of this on the Zoom. So, I don't have to, I'm not going to call anybody out. Um, as we get further into the series and we're more comfortable sharing some breakthroughs and some aha moments, we can do that when people are comfortable. But today, I want you to write down 7 things you love about yourself. And I'm going to mute so I can take a swig of my lean shake here. I feel like I should play the Jeopardy theme song in the background. Oh, that's interesting. So I'm going to share anything that's in the chat. So Mandy said the first 3 things she wrote down that she loves about herself are also the 3 things that she thinks she needs to work on. So this is good because it certainly might be. And this happened when I did the exercise myself. I'm also reading through everyone's. Brittany, is gold-ish a rank? I love it. I also love too how a lot of people said, like, I started taking the products. I didn't share for a long time. So that's just a very good reminder when we get into the business belief piece, that most of us don't start for the business, right? And that just kind of helps because sometimes once we start getting into the business, we get so hyper focused on it. We're like, why can I not recruit any people who want the business? Well, guess what? We were all recruited and none of us wanted it. A few more minutes, 7 things. And hey, if you can write down more things, go for it. I once had a coach had me write down 25 things, and it took me like a week to figure out 25. That should have been my first clue that I was having some self-belief uh, trouble. But 7's what we want. If you can think of more, that's totally fine too. Oh, that's a good exercise. We should maybe have a significant other list their favorite things about us. Steve just bought 2 pillow covers that say, I love his beard and I love her butt. So I can tell you what would be Okay, couple more minutes and then I'll start talking again. Man, it's so good to see everyone's faces. And I'm glad I decided against a PowerPoint. I'm just looking at some notes here to keep me on track. I returned those pillow covers, by the way, in case anybody was wondering. Poor guy. Adelaide was like, why does this say I love her butt? I was like, we're gonna return those. Okay, you guys can keep finishing up. And if you're stuck at 2 or 3, that's okay too. Sit down tonight, think of more things, ask your best friend, ask a significant other. Oh, you're right, Christine. It would be physical. That's right where mine went, but that was not on my list either. Okay, so I want the 7 things that you love about yourself. These are actually the things that make you perfect for your Plexus business. This is the it factor that you have been looking for, right? You already have it. You just don't realize it. You've forgotten it. You've lost it. Just like Mandy said, I'm glad you shared, Mandy, like the 3 things you love best about yourself, you think you need to work on, right? Because for a lot of us, as we lose belief in ourselves, we have downplayed the things that we love about ourselves. And the things that you love about yourself, when you remember them and you live in them, that's where your confidence and your strengths come from, right? So maybe you wrote down that you love how outgoing and how outspoken you are, but you've told yourself you're too much for people. You come on too strong, you're too intense. So you dim your light, right? Maybe you love how detail oriented you are, but you've told yourself other people don't like it. So what do? You dim your light, okay? Maybe you love how awkward and kind of quirky you are, but you've told yourself that others don't take you seriously in the business because of that. And so what happens? You dim your light, right? So oftentimes you might look at that list of the 7 things you love and we think, oh, but man, I really need to work on that. You don't. These are the 7 things you love about yourself. This is the it factor for your business, this is where you will pull your strength and your belief. And so if you have to remind yourself every morning, like Stuart Smalley, of the 7 things you love about yourself, do it, right? And again, when I told you some of the actions we're going to do seem silly, this is one of them, right? I used to think it was so silly to say that stuff in the mirror or put it on my mirror until my daughter started doing it. And I think it's the greatest thing ever when Adelaide looks in her little mirror and is like, I am awesome. I am such a good reader. I can do that math worksheet, right? Okay. So I want you to think about the 7 things you love about yourself are the things that make you perfect to be successful in your Plexus business. Okay. And if you're realizing like, oh man, I'm downplaying a little bit about that, that's okay. That's what the next 5 weeks are going to do. We're going to turn that around because those are the things that make you great and the things that you will pull your confidence and your strength from for success in this business. Okay. So in the chat, I want you guys to put, because we're going to dive into a little bit of what is holding us back. And I want you guys to put in the chat what your rank goal is. Not, okay, just put in the chat what your rank goal is. What's your rank goal? Mine is diamond. Everybody knows I want to be diamond. I'm not sapphire, but my rank goal is diamond. Okay, so put that in the chat. Just start, oh, I'll go ahead and put mine in there too. Do you guys know that when you record a Zoom that it saves the transcript? It's kind of fun. So like if anybody's like, hey, I want to see the chat, it saves it as a note file. Love it. Love it. Like your Plexus goal, Nicole, right? So like mine's diamond, even though technically I have to get sapphire first. That's fine. My goal is diamond. So what is your ultimate goal? Love it. Emerald, diamond, sapphire, ruby, emerald, diamond, diamond. Want to be quad diamond with my husband. Love it. Why not? BHAG, re-rank ruby, senior ruby, then diamond. Emerald. Emerald's my BHAG. So diamond then. Double diamond, I mean times 2. Yeah, you two should be, my goal for you two, the Odermots, is double diamond power couple, right? So keep putting those in the chat. If you're watching the recording, I want you to just write it down, okay? And then here is our homework, okay? Because it's 1:25. I want to be respectful of our time. I actually can keep it on today. I want you to write that down in your notebook. So you got the 7 things you love about yourself, okay? And then you got your rank goal, diamond. If you want emerald, why aren't you? Okay, write that down. And then I want you to answer it. So I answer it, right? Okay, Amy, if you want to be diamond, why am I not diamond? Well, if you want to be silver, why aren't you silver? If you want to be gold, why aren't you gold? And answer that, okay? And my first answer that came to mind when I did this was, you know what? I'm not working like a diamond. I'm not doing the things that they're the actions that would be a diamond. Okay, well, why aren't I doing those? So that's the next question you're going to ask yourself. Why aren't you doing that? Okay, and just leave it there. We're not going to solve it, but I want you to say, if you want emerald, why are you not emerald? If you want senior ruby, why are you not senior ruby? Write it down. It could be a lot of things, right? It could be, I don't have enough time. I'm not confident. I don't feel like I know what I'm doing. People quit. I can't build leaders. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. There's no right way to answer this, okay? Just write it down. And then I want you to ask yourself, why are you not doing those things, okay? So if it's, I don't have enough time, why don't I have enough time? If people are quitting, why are people quitting? For mine, it was, I'm not working like a diamond. Why wasn't I working like a diamond? Well, because I don't feel like I have anything to offer anymore. And I self-sabotage. I'm an expert self-sabotager. Okay, so just be honest in your notebook. This is not going to be shared, and ask yourself, if you want it, why aren't you? And why aren't you doing that? Okay, then we're going to end on a high note. Okay, you are going to write again, 7 again. 7 ways you bring value to your Plexus business. 7 ways you bring value to your Plexus business. This was harder for me than the 7 things I love about myself. I will share mine. Um, I said, oh, look, I actually only got to 6 that I wrote down. I had to do this verbally with a coach. I'm a people person. I love to be a teacher. I am dedicated. Like you guys heard me in the video. I may stumble and fall and go backwards and stay in bed all day one day, but I am dedicated. I'm not going anywhere. I am passionate. I'm a really good public speaker. I have really good positive energy. Okay. So, what are the 7 ways you bring value to your business? And they're going to be different than mine. This is, again, what makes you unique. Okay. So, that is our homework. You're going to put what's your business goal? Why aren't you? Why aren't you doing those things? And then 7 ways you add value to your business. Okay. Oh, and what we are going to find is that the 7 valuable traits that you possess, that you bring to your business, again, are the things that make you invaluable to your business goal. Those 7 traits are what's going to get you emerald. Those 7 traits are what's going to get you ruby, quad diamond, whatever it is. But over the next 5 days, we're going to dig into them a little bit more, kind of unpack them, get rid of the stuff that's holding us back. We're going to figure out the biggest thing holding us back. One of the biggest things holding me back was one comment someone made, and I don't even know her. She's like a mutual friend. And I played it on a loop in my head over and over and over. Okay. So we're going to dig into that. And then we are just going to build belief in the business. You guys are going to be so even more blown away by Plexus as a company and the products than ever before, that at the end of these 5 Tuesdays, people are going to think you are the crazy Plexus person. And that's what I want, because people who are crazy are the ones that do big things. Okay. So I appreciate you guys being on with me. I appreciate you guys who were honest in the chat. Nicole's put some honest stuff in there. I love it. Moving forward, if you guys are comfortable, we can unmute, we can share, because my goal next week is for your homework. What's your goal? Why aren't you? Why aren't you doing that? And your 7 ways you bring value. I hope some of you guys will want to share with the group. And then if some people are open to it, we can unpack live on the call instead of just using my examples. I'd much rather be doing it kind of group coaching style as we move in. So thank you guys for being on. I'm going to stop the recording.